Welcome, UCL fans, to the unofficial Week 1 preview for the United Championship League Little Cup off-season tournament. I'm your host, Nintendo Fanatic 64, and I'm going to be going over the different teams that will be matching up this weekend, making predictions on what could potentially happen, potential outcomes, potential teams brought, different things like that. So if you do enjoy this video, please leave it a thumbs up and let me know in the comment section below who you are rooting for in this off-season tournament. So now before we get into the actual team predictions, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the brackets. So as you can see, of course, all 16 teams were divided up into 4 separate divisions. And by the sounds of it, because the UCL's Twitter did not actually give out a schedule of who's going to be facing who, but if you watch, I think it was the King Nappy's UCL draft analysis himself, you can see he talks about how his first week opponents will be the Carolina Kaleo, and then the Toronto Talon, and then the Bronx Sparetix. So with that, I believe that's how the entire thing is going to go. So in Kanto, you have the South Beach Slowkings taking on the Tucson Talon Flames, Bristol City Blazikens taking on the Real Morels, and I mean, you kind of get the idea of what the Week 1 matchups are going to look like for it. So, and then the following week, it'll be like the South Beach Slowkings taking on the Bristol City Blazikens, Tulsa Talon Flames versus Real Morels, so on and so forth throughout each of the different divisions. So, we're going to go ahead and jump into our previews just by looking at each of the individual teams. So, starting off with the South Beach Slowkings and the Tulsa Talon Flames. Based upon team captains alone, obviously, the Tulsa Talon Flames would have the advantage going into it. But, I mean, let's see what we can come up with on potential ideas for teams. I mean, you can see Charmander, Poniard, I would say, if not Charmander, probably Darumaka instead. I could see Bulbasaur probably making a go. Golett, Machop, Rhyhorn, just to give him some good team diversity. So with, let's say, Poniard, Bulbasaur, Golett, Machop, Rhyhorn, let's see. And then either Chespin or Charmander, I would say. Probably say Chespin would be my best guess for South Beach Slowkings. Tulsa Talon Flames, I would be shocked if they did not bring the Slowpoke, considering that it's obviously, you know, the lower evolution of the actual team name for the South Beach Slowkings. I could see Ponyta being brought as well, just because of the big fire weakness between Poniard, Chespin, and Bulbasaur. Coughing as well to do some damage against Chespin. Oh, I forgot Fungus amongst the fire damage. So I could see Slowpoke, Ponyta, potentially Bagon. Maybe Riolu. Solosis to take on the poison types that are on there. Maybe Krabby in case they bring, to have 2 water types on the field. I don't foresee Cubchoo. Maybe Laleep. I'm going to make my prediction to say Slowpoke, Ponyta, Coughing, Riolu, Solosis, and Bagon will be the Tulsa Talon Flames team. Of course, we don't know what it's going to be until we actually see the videos this Saturday for it. So, as far as the outcome goes, I'm going to say with the Tulsa Talon Flames have a little bit of a better battling. If you go back to their UCL Season 1 matchup, I believe it was the Tulsa Talon Flames over the South Beach Slowkings, and I believe that history will repeat itself again this weekend. So that takes care of the first 2 teams. Up next, we have the Bristol City Blazikens taking on the Real Morels. Just kind of looking over this, it's going to be hard to say who all they're going to actually have with it. Now, Torchic versus Froakie, as far as team captains go, obviously advantage goes to Froakie of the Real Morels. Has real decent bulk with the Punkaboo. Drifloon can probably take a few decent hits on it. it's really, again, it's trying hard to predict because obviously we've never seen any of these teams in action. We don't know what their playstyle will be for a Little Cup battle, so we just have to kind of take our best guesses. So best guess for Bristol City Blazikens, just to kind of have a nice, well-rounded team. I could see, let's see, with a lot of the fire type weakness that the real Morels have, definitely could see Torchic coming because it takes care of the Punkaboo, it takes care of the Snover, the Shelmet, the Smoochum, the Deerling. So it does get taken out by the Froakie. Azurill, despite the fact it's not a water type, can still learn, I think, like Bubble and stuff like that at the beginning. And Whalmer, so I'll have to be careful on that. So I foresee Torchic. I could see Krogun coming because, given a pretty decent typing as well with a poison fighting on there, we'll definitely be able to absorb hits from like Pancham and Drifloom. I believe would have a hard time fighting it. Probably see Snivy coming. I would see probably Corefish, get some decent water typing in there as well. So with, let's see, Torchic, Snivy, Krogunk, Corefish, maybe Rufflet, and then I would say Gothita to probably round out the team for the Bristol City Blazikens. For the Real Morels, obviously a little bit of a fire weakness between with Punkaboo, Snover, Shelmet, Smoochum, Deerling, all in there, but definitely has the water types to back it up. So I foresee Froakie, Drifloom, probably Whalmer, Meowth, and then definitely still going to have at least 2 weeks to fire because that's all the rest of them. I don't foresee the Azurill coming just to give, I know it gives decent typing, but I mean, there's nothing really weak to fairy types on the Bristol City Blazikens that I can see, at least off just by pure looking at it, but they have fairy answers with Ekans and Krogunk. So probably Snover for a little bit of decent, hitting on it, and then maybe I'd say the Punkaboo, just because with it being Super Punkaboo, it actually is going to take a lot of hits on it since it is going to have higher defenses on it. So overall, I might have to give... Now, I haven't seen the real Morels really battle. I know that they are in the GBA, and I do try to watch that on my own time for that, but I haven't really watched their team every single week, only against some of the teams that I do watch from it. So it's hard to say who's going to win this one. I would say slight advantage Bristol City Blazikens, but you cannot give take anything away from the real Morels, especially due to the fact that if you think about it, they are the Season 4 GBA champions. So we'll have to wait and see, like I said, this weekend to see how well they do. Alright, so that took care of the Kanto division. We're going to go ahead and move on to the Hoenn division now. So first up we have the Tucson Terrakions taking on the Carolina Kaleos. Team captains Dano and Elekid are pretty neutral to each other, so they're not going to see a clear advantage there. With the Tucson Terrakions, definitely has a lot of chances for taking out like different strategies available to them. With Spinnerack that can set up with sticky webs. You can have a lot of things set up like the sun with Sunny Day, because I know Bellsprout, I think it is, gets like chloroform or something like that. Something that'll definitely help out in the sun for it. Shellos as well, pretty decent. We always know that he loved his Cindy during the Season 1 of the UCL. Could have Psyduck in there. Now, just looking at the Carolina Kaleos team, the fact that he does have a couple fire types, I definitely see Dano coming to play. You can see Psyduck. Could definitely still see a lead Spinnerack setting up sticky webs. Gulpin to try and absorb a lot of the damage for it. I could see Mime Jr. just having a nice Psychic Fairy typing on there to do some decent stuff. And then Porygon, again, as another kind of defensive wall. Now we go on to Carolina Kaleos. Just taking a look, some of his common weaknesses on here. I'm just trying to look through it real quick. Doesn't have a whole lot of like common weaknesses. I mean, you have a lot of fighting weakness with Carvanha's dark typing, Tortuga with a rock type being weak to it. But other than that, I'm not really seeing a whole lot else. Ground weakness as well between Elekid, Tortuga, Chimchar, Vulpix. So, and then, but he has a lot of different things. Oh, I got Stunky as well being weak to ground types as well. I would see him bringing probably Vulpix. I'd say maybe Stunky. Sorry. Probably Chimchar. Maybe Cacnea. Just to give it some extra thing on there. Just trying to go through it. Probably Esper, because there's a lot of poison typing on his on the Terrakion's side. So let's see. It's maybe Elekid. So like Elekid, Stunky, Chimchar, Cacnea, Esper, Vulpix. I don't know. I mean, again, we haven't actually seen these teams battle with these bonds yet, so it will be interesting to see how they actually will play out. I could be completely wrong. As far as just predictions just on their teams go, I'm going to give slight advantage here to probably the Carolina Keldeos, just because they have a lot more answers to the Tucson Terrakion side of things. There's not a whole lot response going back and forth on it. Again, just it's my personal slight advantage. I'm going to say Carolina Keldeos, but it would not be surprising to see the Tucson Terrakions win this one as well. So we're going to move on to the final teams in the Johto division here, I believe it was, with the Toronto Togekiss and the Bronx Sparetix. Now, just kind of looking at it with their team captains, Togepi and Zorua. Togepi has the advantage being Fairy type over the Dark typing of Zorua. Let's take a look at the Toronto Togekiss first. Got Abra with super high special attack, one of the highest in LC. I believe you have Skrelp, which is a water poison type at this point. You got the bulky Munchlax. You have Dratini, one of the few dragon types that are actually in LC. You have Trubbish. So it can set up things like toxic spikes and things like that. I think it also can get regular spikes as well. Numel, I believe, might be able to set up Stealth Rocks. I'm not too sure. You got Duskull that can burn everything. You got Electrike, has pretty decent moveset. Nidoran female, don't know what all you would want to do with that. Also has Hoot Hoot, which can be pretty decent if he needs like hazard control. Now, looking at Bronx Sparetix side of things, he doesn't really have anything that can set up. Maybe Bronzor, I think, can still set up Stealth Rock, so that'd be the only reason to bring Hoot Hoot. But has the most unique team captain, because with Zorwa's illusion ability, he can send out anything and trick his opponents into thinking it could be something else. So I could definitely see Zorwa coming almost every week, unless it does not favor him in any way. But Zorua, Shellder and Staryu, he's got LGM, Why Not, Teddy Ursa, Geodude, the Bronzor, Growlithe, Happiny, and Vanillites. As far as potential teams go, like I said, Zorua, and Why Not, he talked a little bit about it during the actual live stream draft. Just like sending out Zorua, making people think that why not, because he can use the Shadow Tag ability, getting people to think that they're trapped in there with it. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that happening. Let's see Bronzor being like pretty decent, considering only one fire type on the Toronto Togekiss side, so Bronzor doesn't have a whole lot to worry about on it. Happiny can be a pretty decent wall as well, so I'd say Zorua, Why Not, Bronzor, Happiny, probably either Staryu or Shellder. Probably either one of those I think can learn Rapid Spin, so just anything to spin away any damage, any hazards that could be set up, which, like I said, Toronto Togekiss can set a pretty decent amount between Trubbish and I believe Numel. And then Geodude as well, which I believe also can learn Stealth Rocks, so I mean, that's just the way I'm looking at it now. Toronto Togekiss, I could see him bring in Togepi, Munchlax, Dratini, Trubbish, Duskull, and maybe Abra, I would say. Again, these are just predictions. I have no idea what the actual teams will be for it. As far as advantage goes, I'm going to have to give the advantage to the Season 1 UCL champs, the Bronx Sparetix. Had perfect strategy throughout the Season 1 of UCL, and I can see him doing very well in this Little Cup tournament or league or whatever you want to call it. So I'm predicting the Bronx Sparetix over the Toronto Togekiss. So that's going to do it for the Johto division. I'm actually going to go ahead and finish this one up here. I'm going to be having a second part coming up in just a little bit as well. That's going to cover the second half of the brackets, which we'll pull up again. So we did Kanto and Johto. Next time we will be doing Hoenn and Sinnoh, doing similar type of things. And if you've never been to my channel before watching these videos, you can expect on Tuesday that I will also have up an actual UCL review and somewhat of a rankings video. Not going to be an official, like an actual rankings, considering that all they're doing is just Little Cup and it's a tournament type of thing. But we'll have like our own version of a ranking system going on. So, but with all that, I'm going to finish up here. I will be back, like I said, in a little bit doing the second half of the division. So thank you all very much for watching. Like I said, if you enjoyed it, leave it a thumbs up. Let me know what teams you're rooting for this in this off season. So thank you very much, and you have a good night. Take care.